The families of 3 Americans the State Department says are wrongfully detained by Beijing. They're demanding President Biden step up efforts to secure their release. Those calls for action come as President Biden is set to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in San Francisco in just a matter of hours. While some are hopeful the president will raise the issue with Xi, others say they feel abandoned by the White House. For more, we're now joined by Harrison Lee, whose father, Kai Lee, was convicted in China on espionage charges back in 2018. Harrison, thanks for being here ahead of such a big day for your family.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. The details surrounding your father's arrest are shrouded in confusion and mystery. And correct me if any of this is wrong, but back in 2016, he was visiting Shanghai, where he was born, to mark the 1-year anniversary of his mother's death, when he was arrested upon arrival on state security charges, eventually sentenced to a decade in prison following a 1-hour secret trial. And am I correct in saying you still don't know the full nature of the charges against your dad?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. I mean, look, all we know is that my dad is accused of espionage and stealing quote unquote state secrets that, of course, we don't know the content of, but his attorney does and says that you can find all of these alleged secrets on the internet. The fact of the matter is, my dad is a pawn in these larger geopolitical negotiations. I mean, the State Department here has established that, and the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has established that. So he's just an innocent American who's, unfortunately caught up in this larger sick game of hostage diplomacy.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine the pain that you have felt the last, 5 to 7 years and the not knowing. He visited China, your dad did, regularly for decades. Was there any sign he was in any sort of danger in the days leading up to his arrest?
No, certainly not, to our knowledge. Yeah, look, I mean, he would not have gone back if he, thought he was in danger, right? But there'd be no reason to believe that. I mean, he was, he traveled back and forth to China 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, it's his home country. All of his family is there, and yeah, there's no indication of any problems. But I think, the scary part is, you see with the Americans who are being wrongfully detained around the world, including in China, right? These are all ordinary Americans, ordinary people, and unfortunately, as a result, we don't get the attention that maybe some others would. But I think, if more people know about this, then they need to think, okay, right? Do I want to actually do business in China, right? If my employees or my friends or myself can just get arbitrarily taken just for being American, and
or even just visit there
to raise awareness.
on
Right,
vacation.
even just visiting.
We've all thought about it. Harrison, a few months back, I actually got the chance to sit one-on-one with Catherine Sweden. She's the mother of Mark Sweden, who that name, unfortunately, very well, is one of the others being held in China. And she says, she's pleaded with President Xi to release her son, saying that she has lost all faith in the Biden administration, saying she hasn't even heard from them. Do you have that same criticism of the White House? And have you and your family heard anything from President Biden or President Trump? It's been several administrations since your dad's been held. What have you heard from the White House?
Look, yeah, we've written a countless number of letters to both presidents. We've made constant requests for a meeting or even a phone call, but never gotten so much as a response. I mean, okay, they can argue that they had some lower level bureaucrat, respond and give us a canned letter. Fine. I mean, that's not what I count as a real response, and that goes across both administrations. But of course, right now, Biden is the president. It's his administration, and now it's his responsibility. And look, I mean, I know he cares about this issue. He's brought home dozens of Americans from around the world in difficult countries like Venezuela, like Iran, Russia, right? So he's shown that he cares and can do it. But for some reason, he's refused to even respond to us, to the families who are being. The families whose loved ones are being wrongfully held in China, and we've seen him, of course, rightfully so. He got on the phone with the families of a lot of the Americans who are unfortunately being held by Hamas in Gaza, And
thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.